Hello everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. My name is Mark Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a fun podcast this time around. We're not going to be interviewing guests specifically. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at a year in review. Now it's been, I tell you what guys, it's been a hell of a year for us. We've had some amazing highs. We've had some unbelievable guests. We've gone and picked 6 or 7 of the ones that kind of the Northland Artists Conversation liked or enjoyed in one way or another. Doesn't mean to say that all our guests aren't amazing. We appreciate you all. There were just some of the guests that we could kind of get these little nuggets of joy, little nuggets of goodness out of, which is great. Joining me for the first time in the chair in a very long time will be producer Andrew as well. And it's a great opportunity for me to also welcome editor Lee, who is actually steering the ship tonight. You can't see her at the moment, but I can guarantee you she's bright red. With embarrassment. But this has been such an incredible year for us. When we started doing this 18 months ago, we were just like, man, we were just a bunch of idiots having a whole lot of fun, making things up as we went along and just having a good time. All while trying to put out as professional product as we possibly could. And, since we hit 2024, I mean, sure, we had a week where Cyclone Gabriel hit and we just didn't have a podcast. Because I'd said to the entire team, look, go look after your friends, go look after your family. If they're in it was one of those times when we all kind of needed to rally around each other and, just kind of put the podcast on hold. We've had a couple of podcasts at the end of the year in the last couple of weeks where they've been really reflective of sort of the earlier stuff that we did. Again, they're very, very important podcasts to us and have a lot of meaning behind them. So this podcast really is a very, very small snapshot of what has been 2023 for us. We've had some amazing highs and continue to do so. And honestly, 2024, we've got so many things planned. We've got so much stuff coming up. We are genuinely looking forward to it. Come April, the last Thursday of April, we are going to have something absolutely amazing, and you're going to find out about it the very first Thursday of 2024. We're going to do a big rundown of everything that's coming up. So I tell you what, I'm going to flick to my camera now. Let's just have a look and a bit of a laugh and enjoy some of the amazing moments that have made up the wonderful guests that we've had for 2023. Let's sit down and have a year in review with Northland Artists Conversation. So you know what? As we go through and we sort of review some of the more interesting guests that we've had over this year, quirky. There is one that definitely stands out for me, and that is Tim Bell.
Old Bell Tim, yes, he's good.
Beltech.
Yeah, Beltech.
Tim Bell from Beltech. What do you remember of that podcast?
Was it a ranch slider?
Yep. There was
died on?
There was a ranch slider involved. Definitely.
I mean, I've nearly died a few times, so I relate with those sort of stories.
You have. You've fallen out of a tree and broken both your arms.
Yeah, fell off a skateboard and couldn't see for 12 hours.
Yeah, well, that was only 2 years ago. The other one was like a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, nothing like a quick TBI.
No.
To change your life.
Definitely. Good way to sort of bounce things around.
But yeah, no, I did resonate with that story.
Yeah, and Tim's was interesting. I'd never met Tim before. I hadn't met Tim beforehand. I kind of knew a bit about him.
Yeah.
And a few people had said, "Oh, Tim Bell's coming on the podcast."
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and you were like, "What?"
Yeah, and I didn't get it. But as we do with all our guests, we kind of have a bit of a pre sit down chat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And a lot of our guests will they'll have questions, they'll just want to feel a bit more comfortable. It's a good way to kind of build rapport with someone as well, because you're going to sit down with them for over an hour.
It's an icebreaker essentially.
It is. Yeah. Um,
And then they come into all the lights and they're like,
the lights, the microphones, and then people.
and they freeze up all over again.
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes,
Sometimes they don't. But
Yeah.
Tim was one of those guests where it was like he came in, sat down, showed me some videos that he shot when he was in his teens, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna be fine."
Yeah.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong, but his is one of the only podcasts that we've had to heavily edit.
Yeah, it wasn't heavily edited. There were a few harsh snips.
Right, so
that makes
a
sense.
few aggressive cuts.
It was more like, as the take went on, he got more ambitious.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, we better stop here.
yeah, right,
So
yeah,
I just kept... Yeah, I kept enough in
yeah.
to
Definitely.
keep it on track.
There was one specific joke path that we went
Yeah.
down that we were like, no, there's a defined
And then
cut.
you text me and you went, oh, I thought that was in there. And I was like, I don't know whether that's
we can't
appropriate.
have that in there. So Tim,
The first time.
if you're watching this, mate, we love you to bits.
We've made an award especially for you.
We
now,
have.
though.
We're going to present it to you.
Most edgy. I don't know.
Yeah, the Edge Lord Award.
Hard.
So I tell you what, let's sit down and let's have a look at some of Tim's best moments.
For sure.
It's beautiful. I don't know if you noticed the scar on my face. I went through a glass ranch slider when I was 21.
Really? Now, this is going to sound really dumb. It'll be one of the many dumb things I say during this podcast. Was it on accident or on purpose?
Oh, definitely accident.
Okay.
Oh, we were playing, we'd just started our game of Circle of Death, so wasn't even drunk.
Right.
So if I'd been drunk, that would have been a wake-up call. Stop drinking. But
Yeah.
I wasn't, so I just kept drinking. So
Okay.
you know there's a toilet card in Circle of Death?
Yes.
Well, my mate, I won't name her, but Claire pulled the toilet card.
I won't name her, but Claire. Okay,
So
right.
she went to the toilet and obviously hogged the toilet for a bit, and I also needed to go to the toilet. And I said, does it count if I go outside and pee off the deck? And they said, nah, that's fine. Of course it counted. I don't know how that's a rule, but went outside. I think it was winter-ish. And so I left the ranch slider open, went out to the balcony. Someone must have closed it behind me. I noticed my friends outside, so I didn't even pee. I was like, oh, I can't pee in front of all you guys. Well, not sober. And so I talked to them, finished talking to them, turned around, my foot got caught under the lip going inside.
Oh, yep.
Crashed through the plate glass, and
Wow.
one of the shards must have come down and went straight through my femoral artery and my nerve. Completely severed it. I was bleeding into my jeans. No one could see it. I couldn't move my leg or anything. And all people could notice was my hand and my face. But I was like, I can't move my leg. And they're surrounded by nurses, luckily. And they started cutting off my jeans, which I was annoyed about because they were new. And
Like new Levi 501s or something like that?
well, I was quite attached to them.
Okay.
And they cut up the leg, and all the blood just spilled out onto the carpet. It was pretty horrific. And
Right.
that's when they noticed there was a pretty severe femoral bleed.
That's where they thought we might have a problem?
Yes. And so that, luckily over the road was a orthopedic surgeon, Sarah Murgatroyd. And it sounds like I'm making it up. But no, that was very much her name. And she was going to be attending the party later on.
That she decided to join a little bit earlier?
Yeah, she came a bit earlier.
Okay, right.
And she was the one that saved my life.
Really?
The paramedics didn't do very well, and so they got retrained after the event. But yeah, she saved my life, and I think I stopped breathing in the ambulance and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was pretty horrific.
I think one of the things I liked about this year's podcasts as a whole was they were very diverse.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways. I mean, there were sections where we had like, 2 or 3 authors in a row, or 2 or 3 painters in a row, or
There's
things
a
like that.
lot of authors.
Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah,
you
hearty.
know. But there was one guy that kind of came on that was just way out of the box. Way out of the box. Now, he got referred to us from Cheryl Mai when she was still her worship, when she was still the mayor.
Yeah.
And she had suggested that he get in touch with us and then come in. And I think if I remember right, he'd thrown up a post on Facebook saying that, business had dried up for him.
Oh, okay.
He was getting ready to shut up shop, and he was going to find a regular 9-to-5 job. And it was a really tough time for him. And my brother, who lives in Ashburton, messaged me and said, "Hey, you should get this guy on." I was like, "That's funny you say that. We've booked him in."
Okay.
And then he came in, and he was like, "Man, as soon as I put that message up on Facebook, I just started getting orders come in." So I was like, "Great, cool."
That's good.
And do you follow him on Facebook?
Yes.
I follow him on Facebook as well.
His work is like nothing short of world class,
It
in
is
my opinion.
staggering.
I've never seen anything like it.
Staggering. And the one cool thing I liked is that he was such a cool guy, and he wasn't afraid to kind of get into the weeds about some of the, let's say, interesting life choices that he's made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how they sit in this chair and it opens them up.
Yeah.
It's like, I've had some of my mates come in here,
Yes,
and you've asked
you
some
have.
questions that I never thought to ask,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
When? How?
It's crazy, eh?
It's a very unique thing for them to kind of share as much as they do sometimes, eh? So
Yeah, definitely. And, I'm always very grateful for whenever people feel comfortable enough to open up. The guest I'm referring to is the bladesmith Manu King.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's Manu's... Is it the King's Mark?
Yes, I think it is.
The King's Mark, like bladesmith, and
Yep.
there's a few other bits and pieces, but
Great name.
it's an awesome name. He came in and he actually had a few knives with him, but he was he shared with all of our listeners and viewers that he was making a knife out of meteorite that he'd purchased from Africa and was coming over.
Holy, that's like the gift you'd give a pharaoh.
I know.
It's a Tutankhamun level gift.
And it was also in the handle was part of a tooth from a megalodon shark.
Oh my god.
And
It's so good it's almost excessive.
it's next level.
Because
And
I've seen some beautiful work where he has like power inlays.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool. I'm like, because I love power shells. I got a bucket full that Liddy's going to
they're
use
beautiful.
at home. So
Absolutely beautiful.
yeah. So it's quite cool to see our like native tongue used in that way as well.
It is. And he's just around the coast. He's up
Yeah.
around like Nangaru, Tutukaka way. I think it's
Okay.
Nangaru.
Yeah.
And he's having just massive amounts of success.
Nah, mint.
So you know what? Let's have a look at some of Manu's highlights. What do you reckon?
Let's
Let's go and do that.
Keen
Let's
as.
check out some of Manu King's best highlights.
I figured we might as well start with my latest build.
Okay. We're gonna have a look at the latest one. I'm gonna move your mic a little bit closer.
Yeah, you do that.
There you go. So what? Okay. So your latest build. Was this a custom?
Yeah, so this is a commission. Yeah, this one is heading over to Australia.
Right.
So this, once we get there.
Yep. Holy shit. Now, I'm going to hold this up. To my camera.
If you go, I don't know. You may want to jump up and take it close so people can see the layering.
There you go. So that's right in my shot. So what we've got is a power inlay.
Yep.
With Damascus steel.
Yep.
In
It's swamp remu.
a swamp remu body. Now,
Yeah.
it's quite dense. It certainly feels quite light. I'm going to take the.
Yep, go for it.
I'm gonna take the weight is in the wood.
It's in the wood. Yeah, that's heartwood. Yeah.
This is unreal. This is so.
Sharp. So do be very, very careful.
That's why I'm gripping it
Yeah,
like
but
that. I'm not like,
I'm more worried about your tech.
oh, yeah, true.
We heal.
That's I'm gonna throw that up. Can we see that in the Rocky's throwing the thumbs up? We can see it quite nicely. Can we see all the texturing in there as well?
So it's 300 layers.
300 layers of Damascus steel.
Yeah.
With abalone
Abalone New Zealand power handle.
inlay.
Yeah. So
wow.
it's not inlaid actually. It's full 3-dimensional in there. So if you have a closer look, you can see it's absolutely 3-dimensional, and you can see through some of it.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. So it's not just a
I can
flat
see the
piece.
carpet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's a whole bunch of broken
Grab your mic. Bring it close. There you go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of broken up shell that is then laid down in the casting resin, and it actually pokes through the casting resin when I'm casting it, and then I sand the top of it off. So
Okay.
you've got exposed shell there, and that's how it gets that real hardcore 3-dimensional look.
And it's just got such an amazing feel as well. And the blade itself it feels oily.
Yeah, it is. It's oiled.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop that back because that is something now that belongs to someone.
It
yes?
does. Yes, it does. Yes. Yep. Yeah, he has seen it.
Sorry, editor Rocky, that was a twang in the background. Now, you primarily work on commission work?
Yeah, 99% of everything is done by commission. Yeah.
So if I was, say, interested in getting one of these, I would reach out to you via Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of give you a bit of a description as to what I wanted you to do, and then you would kind of do up some drawings and sketches and send them off. Is that kind of how the process works for you?
Yeah, in a nutshell. So yeah, you would you'd find my page, the Kingsmark Custom Knives, on Facebook. We're only on Facebook at the moment.
Yep.
We are in the throes of websites and all of that sort of stuff, but there's so much.
Let's
going
go with
on at the
Facebook
moment.
for now.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about sort of what's going on a bit later, because I think that's really interesting in itself.
Okay, so yeah, you jump on my Facebook page, and you go, ooh, I like that one.
Yeah.
And then I want to place an order. I want to get a commission made.
Yeah.
And so you would find the little send message button at the top.
Yep.
On the top of the page, and you just chuck me a message in Messenger.
Okay. Right.
And then you're going to get back this really stupid auto reply that I can't get rid of.
Okay.
Oh, it drives me wild because it keeps resending.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just one of those things. And so then you're going to ignore that. And then
There's going to be a second message.
Yeah.
That'll come through from you.
Yeah, because yes, exactly. There will be a second personal message. And I'll say, hi, how's it going? How can I help? What are you after? What ideas do you have?
Yeah.
Do you have something specific in mind? And you'll go, yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
And then I'll say, no, sorry, my name is not Malcolm in the Middle.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop.
It's a great joke. It's a great joke.
And then so if you've got an idea that's cool, then we have a basis to work from.
Yeah.
I'll chuck ideas at you, you chuck ideas at me, and we'll just let it roll.
Okay. I don't even know where to start with this next guest.
No, yeah.
This
I know where.
you do.
She walked in with a massive burn here, and I thought, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, what do you
Yeah.
do?
And she had sticks.
Yeah.
As well. And she had like the most interesting clothing on.
Yes.
As well.
It's cool.
And she's given us quite possibly the coolest phrase
Yeah.
in the history of cool phrases that we've been given.
Yeah, I don't think I'll forget her title.
Not a title.
What? Oh, yeah, I wrote it down.
You did. Doorknob Fire Sword.
Doorknob Fire Sword, yeah.
That, honestly, when that came out, I remember that going up
Yeah.
on the board
As soon as I heard that, I was like, I don't want to forget that.
super quick.
Yeah, that's some funny, like, because me and old Steve, who's going to be helping us out with audio,
Yeah.
we come up with stuff like that on the fly, and so to hear someone else come up with stuff like that is refreshing.
It was
It's
amazing.
random.
And her
But relevant,
her
so.
journey from gymnastics
Yeah.
to cheerleading
Yeah.
to playing with fire.
Yeah.
And not even metaphorically. I mean, literally, she spins
And
fire.
out of those three,
Yeah.
she probably does the third most naturally.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
does.
like, everything else is kind of, I guess, normal in a societal view. but
Traditional.
playing with fire,
Yeah.
that's my thing.
Exactly, yeah. And it's not in the I'm a pyromaniac, want to burn shit down way.
no. I'm an artiste.
It's in the very creative way.
Yes.
Now we're of course talking about the wonderful Jess Hess.
Yes.
But she liked to she gave herself an amazing nickname.
Yes.
And it was
Jess Hess, the mess from out west. I say it. I'll be driving in my van by myself.
Yeah.
And I'll just say it aloud because it just rings. I don't know why. It's stuck with me. A couple things like that from that podcast.
Yeah. She was so cool. And I've gone. Well, I don't know if they still do it, but they have every Friday night from around like 7-8 o'clock. Down by
The pump track.
The pump track.
Where I gained my TBI, yes.
That's the one. As funny as I want to say it, I will say forever etched in your brain.
Oh, it is.
But it won't be. Because
Can't
at some
remember
point
the layout
you'll
of that
forget
course
it. No,
at all anyway.
No. But she was with,
Yeah.
I believe the name of the company at the time was called Fire Frenzy, but they've had a name change recently.
Oh,
They've
true.
rebranded themselves.
Okay.
But she was so cool. So cool, so lovely. She's helping us out in a few other projects that we're doing, which is
Cool.
great.
Yep.
So it's going to be super cool to, get her back in and find out what's going on, man, because she is just wicked.
Oh, yeah.
She
I
was
don't
super
even know
cool.
what's going on now, so
Well, you
it
don't.
would be interesting.
That's it. You have a look. You have that bewildered look on your face.
Yeah.
So let's tell you what, guys. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from Jess Hess. Okay. So I'm going to preface this next question with something, because I know I'm going to sound like an idiot. When we had Wendy Cunliffe, who was a potter, on, she was talking about different types of clay, and she said, sometimes that she uses paper clay. And I said, why is it called paper clay? And she said, because it's clay with paper in it.
Yeah.
I will preface this next question by saying, what is a fire sword? Knowing very well that the answer is going to be just as simple as it sounds.
It's a sword on fire. Yeah. But it's like a handle. Funny enough, it's got a doorknob full of lead on the end. Shout out to Leo, our bro who makes them.
Shout out to Leo.
So they've got a
Doorknob fire sword.
doorknob full of lead on one end for the handle.
Stop laughing, producer Andrew.
For counterbalance. For
Oh,
weight.
yes.
So you can roll it along your body. So then it's got a handle about that long, and then the wick sword is probably about that long, and that
Yeah.
will be on fire. I sent you a cool video.
You did? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's got me lighting the fire throne with the fire swords. And that was at the last Nightlights show.
No, I'm not going to ask what a fire throne is.
hoping you would.
Come on.
Shut up. It's not going to be like that. Because I'm pretty sure that having guessed what being told what a fire sword is, I can guess what a fire throne is. But I do want to just quickly clarify something that you just said that I found interesting. You said fire swords, you roll them along your body.
Yeah. I'm not the greatest at that yet, but yeah, it's called contact sword.
It's
Crazy.
Yeah. Can't be as crazy as the other stuff I'm learning right
Yeah.
now. Okay.
No, it's cool.
Northland Artists Conversation are incredibly proud to support the Quarry Arts Centre. Quarry Arts Centre, amazing place, located on Selwyn Ave in Whangarei. Such a wonderfully beautiful venue. They are an art gallery, and they have some amazing exhibitions, and they also hold Te Kōwhai Print Trust as well. Another really, really cool artistic endeavour that's done as well. They will have different exhibitions and shows of all different types of medium available as well, and they're such a long-standing venue in the community as well. Highly recommend you checking them out. Fantastic place. Really, really cool to take the kids and family as well. So, Northland Artists Conversation, proud to support the Quarry Arts Centre. This guest, we both know her, and
Yes.
now, but you've known her like a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, has she run for council twice?
I don't know.
When she ran for council,
Yeah.
we did video work with her.
Right,
So,
right. And you and I have done some filming work
Yes.
for her in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
We did some filming for the art installation,
BIOS incubator.
the BIOS incubator that she had at the Whangarei Arts Museum.
Indeed.
And now that the interesting thing is that is actually a program that's actually spanning a whole year,
Yeah.
which is very cool.
Yeah. It was just one kind of gallery event.
Yeah,
for it.
and that was kind of the big kickoff for
Mhm.
it. And then they've been doing subsequent events in like Dargaville
Workshops and everything as well.
Kerekere, Kaikoe. They've been doing them in different places around Northland, and some of them have been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, the big one that they launched with at WAM, Whangarei
yeah,
Arts
I see
Museum.
what you did there.
See what I did there? I wasn't saying wham as in like Batman.
He needs commission.
I do. Thank you. All checks payable too.
Yeah.
No, I also take Venmo.
That is now my
and-
IP.
and Cash App. You know, that having had that big launch and everything that they were doing there was amazing. You had the installation inside, which was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. I mean, they were getting artistic feeds from artists around the globe.
Yeah. Brazil and stuff. eh?
Brazil and
Yeah.
Scotland, I think it
Oh,
was,
wow.
or Wales, somewhere around there. And that was pretty amazing. And then she was holding these workshops where they had all these guest speakers come in and talk.
Yeah.
So it was pretty. It was absolutely amazing. We're talking about the local creative mad genius,
Yeah.
known as Maggie Buxton.
Indeed.
You know, it's interesting. Maggie thinks on a very different level from all of us. But it was interesting. I remember you saying something about it about her when
dear.
we were first getting ready to when we were first getting ready to sit down and have a podcast with her. You said, you know, she's super intelligent, but she's also super willing to share all of her information as well.
Yes.
You know,
Like it's like she channels. It's like she just channels artistic ideas. So they just fall into her head, and here they come.
yeah,
It's pretty cool to watch. Like you can actually see it forming with the way she kind of talks and stuff.
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
she
yeah,
thinks
yeah.
she's very emotive with it. So
Yep.
it's a really unique way of kind of going about your art.
yeah, definitely.
And like when I walked into that exhibition, because I didn't actually get to partake too much because of my day job,
yes,
but I
the
got
day
to go
job.
down and shoot some B-roll, and man, it was like walking into the future.
Yeah, it
or
was.
like the inner workings of some futurist's brain.
Yeah.
It was really cool. So like I
It's
really
a great way to
enjoyed that
great way to
little-
look at it
yeah.
too. It was almost like, you know, you pop the top off of someone's head,
Yeah.
shrunk down into size, and you were just having a bit of a wander.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it was and there's stuff all over the place, but it's deliberate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everything is there with intent.
Yeah, tubes running everywhere and stuff running through them, and
Yeah.
it's all glowing. Oh, I was like, you just sit there and you just get sucked into it.
Yeah,
It was
definitely.
cool.
It was amazing. You know, and she is such a cool person as well.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so it was really nice. She was the first. Gotta make sure I get this right. The first doctor we've had on.
I guess so.
But
Yes.
now I say that because
Yeah.
we could say Lauren Roach.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking.
but she is no longer a
Yeah,
doctor.
yeah.
You know, so technically Maggie Buxton was our first doctor, and then funnily enough, like when the BIOS incubator was happening, she connected us with Dr. Tracy Benson, who is
Yep.
originally from Australia and had come over to participate, and we got her on the
Yeah,
podcast
that was
as well.
a good one too. I really liked that
Yeah,
one.
lots of fun. So, tell you what, guys, let's have a look at some of the highlights of Maggie Buxton.
I think for me, I've always been lucky to have a great deal of generosity in terms of people kind of supporting me and sharing their wisdom with me. And I've also been given a huge amount of opportunities.
Okay.
Just good synchronicities and leading one thing to another. And I've always, because I have quite a strong kind of spiritual base in terms of my practice generally, I guess for me it's always about giving back.
Right.
So for me, if I have the opportunity to support somebody or provide some advice or do things for my community, and then for me it's about giving back something about what I've been given. So in terms of mentoring or coaching or whatever stuff I've been doing, I think it's just about kindness and generosity. It's not about the content more than anything else. But anyone who's watching this who knows that if they ask me something or they want my advice, I give it.
Right, okay.
And sometimes I give it if it's not asked.
Oh.
A little bit.
Okay.
And also I'm a very straight person. Like I'm a very clear and straight person in terms of how I do things. I tend to just go, okay, blah, 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 that this is how it is.
Yep.
You take from that what you need to.
Yes.
And I've always been, I guess, because I've done a lot of work on myself and done a lot of training in different kinds of practice or, self-improvement things or group facilitation things and stuff, I'm really big on people taking self-responsibility. So for me, I take responsibility for my actions. And if I work with somebody, then I imagine that they will do the same, and I'm supporting them to do that.
Right,
and
okay.
I'm helping them to be the best thing they can be and stand on their own feet around stuff.
Yeah. So you're not sort of mothering people, holding their hands and sugarcoating things. It's very... this is the information that you're going to require. How you interpret that information is up to you.
Something like that, although probably I can be a little mothering sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with that, though, is there?
Sometimes a little bit. Generally speaking, I tend to be a little bit of a straight person. I just say how it is. But, as you get older, I hate to say that phrase, it just becomes tiring to kind of, it's just easier just to be clearer.
Yeah.
And I think in the arts area, sometimes we need that a bit. I think...
agreed.
We need to be just kind of a little bit more straight up and a little bit more, let's just get things done kind of thing.
Yeah. So with our next guest, how would you describe him?
Oh,
without using his name, without saying too much, how would you describe him?
Surprising.
Okay.
And I don't know what the word is for it, but yeah, it kind of is surprising. I knew him a long time before he took on the endeavours he has now.
Yes.
And I did not expect him to go anywhere near that. But then I heard his history in the podcast, and it made complete sense. I think I just said something like that in one of the previous takes or the future takes, I don't know. But yeah, he kind of started in a different path.
Because he was a DJ, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a DJ.
Yeah. And then that's how I knew him.
Yeah.
Because obviously musos, DJs, kind of hand in hand kind of thing.
Yeah.
One opens, one closes kind of thing.
And you got drunk at one of his gigs, right?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Well, he used to do Danger and
He
shit.
did. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that era.
But
that's all good.
We're all different people now, Andrew. We can move forward.
But yeah, Danger ring bells for a few
For
of
some
our
of
older
our-
folk.
For some of our viewers and listeners, they'll be like, holy shit, I haven't heard that in a while.
I remember Danger.
Let me just quickly get my Zimmer frame.
Yeah.
I think the one word for me that I would use to sum him up would be charismatic.
Yes. Smooth talking.
He's
Radio voice.
he has got a velvety smooth radio voice.
I guess you guys could almost compete in that area.
And I certainly felt like we were at the time when the podcast was being recorded.
Sound like furniture salesman or something,
Because his voice was just a little bit deeper than mine.
This
and
one
very-
provides supreme comfort.
Yeah. Welcome to Arch Support.
Yeah.
Anyway, but such a nice guy, and he's made huge changes in his business.
Yes.
He's got a new location, and he's got I think we talk about it in the podcast. He built a huge custom cyclorama for people to be able to go in and use the space and film, and do all of these sorts of amazing things at like a very high level.
Just a minor upgrade.
Yeah, minor. Yeah. From
just a whangarei first.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
It's crazy.
A whangarei first is definitely a great way to look at it. But he was such a cool guy. I've gone in. He showed me around the space.
Wicked.
Absolutely
Okay.
lovely.
Yeah.
It's great to see where they're heading.
Yeah.
He's someone that I think is just constantly pushing the envelope and
Yes.
working out what can he do better, what can he produce better.
Yep.
He's one of those guys that where you can take the top of your head off. And
Mm.
I've said this with another guest.
Yeah.
But he just lets the ideas flow out.
Yeah, and he quite often chases the first thing that comes to mind, and it's successful.
Yeah,
You know, like he explained that, I guess, that package deal he had going, right? 25 videos.
50 videos for like $2,500 or something like that.
Something along those lines.
Yeah,
But he just
yeah.
said, why don't we do that? And they did that, and it's been, massively
Yeah.
successful for them. So.
And he said for him it's just a gateway to the other services they offer.
Exactly.
And what an amazing way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew and I are referring to former guest and current Facebox auteur, Kevin Etherington.
Yes.
I say it, the man, the myth, the legend.
Mm-hmm.
Such a cool guy. He
DJ'd my 21st.
That's why I was talking about you getting drunk. And he's a huge supporter of what we do.
Yeah.
And we love everything that he does. So, tell you what, guys, let's sit down and have a look at some of the highlights from our podcast with Kevin Etherington.
Got kicked off this farm, flare gun to the head. We end up in this little flat. And then about 6 weeks after being in this flat, I'm lying in bed, we're in this Salvation Army bed.
Yeah.
It's Saturday night. It's 10 p.m. And it was like, there's nothing to do. We have
your fry bread and weed.
with fry bread and weed, and literally just that was it. Like, there's nothing. We had no money. There was nothing. Anyway, and at that stage we didn't have a car anymore either. And then this dude comes running in the room, man, and he just shakes me like vigorously, just out of nowhere, just sprints in the room. Like, Kev, and I'm like, whoa, what's up? I'm thinking there's a fire. He goes, bro, there's 5 hot chicks in the lounge. And I'm like, fucking sprung out of bed, bro. God, I know you're real. Thank you. And I come out, man, and I see, and it sounds cliche, but I see the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And she's kneeling down by my little ghetto blaster,
Okay.
playing with my tapes. And I look around, and there's some other guys there as well, and some other chicks. And she turned around, and I was just like, holy fuck, like a 10.
Yeah,
Like, not a
yeah.
9.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck. And something came over me, like I was so not nervous to talk to her
Yeah.
because there was no possibility or whatever that we could ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's
Yeah,
no way
man.
she'd see
Yeah.
me, but there was one in the kitchen that looked quite easy, and I thought, when you're like, you see the lion and they're chasing the gazelle,
Yes.
and they say, oh, I'm going to go for that one.
Yes.
I was thinking the one in the kitchen looked like, I could catch that one potentially, but there were already a couple other lions,
Sure.
sort of like pacing around her.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, I'll wait till they, wear out, and I'll go and sit next to this beauty. And after all, she's, that's my ghetto blaster. I can't remember what my opening line was, but anyway, started talking to her. Totally not nervous because it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just, and she tells me about her life. Like, she was like 18 months older than me. So she was
Okay,
mature.
yeah.
And she goes, I moved to Aussie when I was 16. And, and not back then, not a lot of people at the gym. It wasn't like today. Everyone has a freaking subscription to probably 2 gyms, right?
Yeah.
And she, work out, blah, blah. And I said, oh, wow. And we lived on this sort of cliff top bank type thing,
Okay.
right? You kind of, there wasn't a rope, you didn't have to abseil down, but you had to climb down. There were
Yeah.
like handles. And I just said to her, are you into doing spontaneous things,
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and she's like, yeah. And I go, okay. And we left the party and we climbed down the cliff. And we made our way, this is in Bally's Beach, we made our way. And this is September 10th, West Coast waves, it's
wow.
cold as.
Yeah.
And so we just get to the beach and we strip off. We leave our undergarments on, and we just run into the water and we're just swimming, mucking around, all the rest of it. And I shit you not, Mark. We were a couple of meters away,
Yeah.
and we're laughing, walk to each other, but then the laughter kind of stops and can hardly see each other, right? And then just as I get close to her, man, the cloud pulls away, the moon comes out, and we kiss. True fucking story. I won't tell you what happened after, but that's what happened there.
I think we can all guess.
Yeah.
If it's September, I will go with shrinkage.
Wrong. And long story short, man, 2 weeks later, she was pregnant with my eldest child.
No way.
Yeah, so that's now my wife.
Wow, congratulations.
We have 7 children.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. She's an awesome woman. Yeah.
So this podcast, this one is a little bit more recent.
Yes.
Haven't
watched it.
You haven't watched it?
No.
I'll be honest. I had a lot of fun doing this because every now and then we kind of get a guest on that we're not really too sure about. We don't know a lot about them.
Yeah.
Either we reach out to them or they reach out to us, or we kind of get connected via people. So it's a bit of an odd way.
There's always a spider work of networks.
There is. And it's often, in Northland, it's like 2 degrees of separation.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's your next door neighbour.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where? Oh, yeah, I'm just up the road.
I'm down the road, man. So this guest was, didn't know much, as I said, didn't know much about her. But just such a lovely person to talk with.
Okay.
It was one of those podcasts that was, I didn't know how it would go, but it was very easygoing. And once we kind of got into the flow, it was good. And obviously it came out incredibly well.
Yeah.
So well that we've actually asked you to join the podcast team. I am, of course, talking about Lee J.
And she's gone bright red
and
again.
Lee is currently sitting behind the desk at the moment while we're filming
like
these.
This. Oh my God.
Because we have seen value in what she does and the passion that she brings.
Yeah, yep.
So I approached her and we had a bit of a serious discussion afterwards. And said, hey, look, if you're really interested, we'd love to have you come in and help. And she was like, yeah, I'll think about it. And I said, good, don't give me an answer straight away.
Man.
So she went home and thought about it. And I messaged her, it was like a week later, and said, hey, what are your thoughts? She goes, yep, I'm in. So I was like, great, awesome. Super cool. And, this is so we had her in as a guest initially. She reached out to us. Mm-hmm. Apparently, we'd been connected through Instagram for a little while. We were following her. She was following us.
Oh, okay.
And it was really, really cool because, when we were sitting down beforehand talking, it was nice to get a good sense of who she was as a person. And then when we got in the chair, you could see that there was a little bit of uncomfortability to start with, which is to be fair,
yeah,
it's a lot of guests.
There quite often is.
There is.
So.
But when we got on a roll, she was like, "Yeah, we're off," and we're just going hard, and it was great. I think she might hold the record for the fastest rapid fire as well.
Ooh, that's good. That's a good title to have.
That is.
Believe me, because sometimes I sit there and I watch the clock go up to 7 minutes, and I'm like, "This is meant to be called rapid fire."
It's called rapid fire. Everyone's different, and we know that.
Yeah, I know. I think mine was long too. So
yeah.
I can't judge.
So it was very, very cool. So when it was all said and done, it was great to have her on the podcast because ultimately she's now come on board to work behind the scenes with us as well.
Yeah.
And she's already stepping up, and she's for those of you that are watching or listening, normally it would either be producer Andrew, who's in the chair next to me, or editor Rocky that will be driving behind the camera. But tonight, while we're recording this podcast, this is the first one that editor Lee. Yeah. I've given her a name.
There we go.
Editor Lee is doing for herself. So if we can we do a quick golf clap?
It's hard to clap around mics.
It is. And let's sit down and check out some of the highlights of Lee J's conversation.
Yeah.
So when did you first decide that the visual medium of storytelling through editing was something that you wanted to pursue?
So I think, well, if I can think back far enough, it started around when I was about 12. when I got my first tablet. So my first like tablet, and I just downloaded an app. I think it was like Video Star or something it was called. And I just started mixing and mashing videos together, putting audio. They were really, really bad, just so you know, very bad at the time because I was just learning. Yeah, and I just got a passion for it. I just started really loving that sort of sense of storytelling. And obviously, like, me and my family we're big movie nuts. Like, we absolutely love film, love music. So all that kind of influenced that, kind of helped me go into that. Yeah, streamline it, kind of. Yeah. It was really cool. Just finding something that I felt like I was good at as well. Because that kind of helped, like, light the spark of thinking I can actually do this and pursue it, like, for a living, hopefully. At the time, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Is that something that you would still like to, like, if you were given, so if you were given the opportunity, is that something you would like to pursue more?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, I have been given the opportunity. I've been working with some different companies in the past, but I still really want to do things like that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nice. Our next guest, it's interesting, right? When we were initially creating the podcast, we were focusing on creatives in Northland because, man, there are so many.
Yeah.
And then I think we hit the end of 2022, and we were doing another end of year review. And I remember you and I having a conversation about opening up the podcast to people that were coming into the Northland area, and maybe trying to see if we could get them in.
Yeah.
And we have had a couple of amazing guests. We had Mikhail Mulipola, who is a hugely talented comic illustrator. And, he's drawn for Marvel and DC and WWE.
What a CV.
I know. Yeah, I know. Amazing. And, I remember in that interview podcast, he was just dropping names left, right, and centre of all of these cool people that he got to meet and hang out with. And it was also around the time of Shane Evans' birthday. His 50th, and we'd actually invited Shane to come in and sit down and watch the podcast live, so that way him and Mikhail could actually have some interaction, and Shane bought his comic and there was some critiquing there, so that was cool.
Oh, man.
It was great. It was wicked. But we have had another guest come into the region as well, and he was, I'm going to say, for me, he was unexpected. And I mean that in the best way possible, because he travels between, I want to say, the Wanaka Queenstown area. And where does he live up here? Where does he stay up here?
I don't know, but I know I'm pretty sure he said he comes from Te Kōpuru, which is just out past Dargaville.
That's the one. And he comes up and he works on his poetry and his writing, but he's an actor by trade. He's got a few films under his belt. He's been on a lot of cool sets. He's got to meet some amazing people as well. Who am I talking about?
Julian Knoll.
Yeah.
It was, just if I could interject, it was kind of like, sometimes I don't click with an artist myself. But he wasn't one I expected to kind of click with. I took away so much from that. Like, it made me want to write poetry. Like, it was really cool.
What was the one thing that you took away from that most?
It was actually a quote.
Okay, what was his quote?
And the quote it was really relevant for the time, because we were midway through an election and conspiracies are flying everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. They were all over the show.
And he just, I can't remember the context or anything, but he said conspiracy is the poor cousin of truth. And I was like, fuck, that's a cool way of looking at it.
It's a very out of it perspective to have.
Yeah, and I think it may have been part of the poem he did, because he was one of the... We've had a few poets kind of come on and read.
And we're going to put that in. We're going to put that in the segment for him, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because he actually reads a poem from start to finish.
Yeah.
We've had a few people read.
And his knowledge of the social media age blew me away.
Yeah.
Because he mentioned everything that's happening, And I don't mean to be rude, but I didn't expect a man of his age to name drop like OnlyFans and Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat. And I was like, what? Where's this coming from? Like, how does he know all this?
He was just.
My mum wouldn't know half of those.
He was a
She's
wealth.
50.
He was a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And it was so cool. I mean, as someone who has done a lot of acting in the past, I enjoy connecting with actors.
Yeah.
And to hear some of his stories were amazing. We've had other guests that have also been thespians as well, and they've been just lovely to chat with. He was super cool. I would also highly recommend having a look at the photos that we put up on Facebook and Instagram when his podcast came out, because those they are hilarious.
I can't remember them. I have to
They
go
are
back and have a look
hilarious. He
myself.
does a lot of the big actor Broadway poses, and they are so cool and majestic. And he's definitely the man.
Yeah.
He
No,
was
that's cool.
He was such a nice guy. So, guys, have a look at this and enjoy the highlights of Julian Knoll.
So, the beast. They gunned down the truth in a dark alley in New York. The streets of America run with the noble blood of gentle Themis. And in a mosque in Christchurch, they gunned down Ma'at, goddess of truth and justice. I know it's true. I watched it on Facebook. Conspiracy, the poor cousin of truth, floods the web, giving form to our deep fears. And a quiet voice calls, is nothing sacred anymore? And the mountains answer, lay down your weary tune, lay down the song you strum, and rest yourself 'neath the strength of strings. No voice can hope to hum. We are all turning and turning in the widening, spiraling storm. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. From Baghdad to Bethlehem, old wounds weeping, the rough beast is stirring, travelling by train, plane, and automobile. In the sandy deserts wailing, wounded warriors wander the once holy lands, beseeching, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Desperate for the second coming. A young child asks, what is the truth? Google shrugs his shoulders, and Durga pulls her close. From Boston to Bethlehem, the wild beast is waking. The Pope, dressed in red, is throwing a party for the altar boys, handing out lollipops to the priests. Rupert Murdoch tweets a memo to the world. Things fall apart. The centre cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. And the Hokianga Harbour responds, lay down your weary tune, lay down the song you strum, and rest yourself 'neath the strength of strings. No voice can hope to hum. But no one's paying attention. Everyone's hoping to be liked on Facebook. From Boston to Bethlehem, travelling by train, plane and automobile, the rough beast is slouching. Newsreaders with a smattering of mattering and twisted smiles, telling tall tales of gunshots, ram raids and black lives battering. We romance darkly that the blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. And in Rawene, it's 3 a.m. A mist floats across the estuary, murmuring, lay down your weary tune, lay down the song you strum, and rest yourself 'neath the strength of strings. No voice can hope to hum. Politicians? Oh, please, arrogant pricks. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. The millennials are knocking on heaven's door, but God has thrown away the key and is running for president. They plead, surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming? Hardly are those words out, when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. From Balclutha to Bethlehem, the dark beast is stirring, travelling by train, plane and automobile. Jesus Christ, or someone who looks like him, is snowboarding the Remarkables and carving up Cardrona. Queenstown, beanies, board shorts and Lululemon. Friday night, mocktails and cocktails. Everyone is on their mobiles looking at Mary Magdalene's OnlyFans page, her online dating profile crushing dreams. The cooling summer breeze whispers, the tourists are back. And Louis Vuitton has a hard-on. Tag Heuer counts down the seconds, and Japanese tourists paddle towards the blue canoe. In the dark bars, cigarettes and mung bean vapes, beards and bitches, hairy chests and long shaved limbs, sculpted pubic mounds. Everything is on show, or hoping to be. The crowd is restless. I don't know what the question is, but the answer is sex. Looking out from under red lipstick, Mary is sitting in the rooftop bar, her Lululemon camel toe, screaming, "Fuck me! Please, fuck me! I want to belong!" John stands in the corner, hard and lonely, stroking himself, too shy to approach. The mushroom seller smiles, telling him he has something better than heaven. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The wounded warriors wail, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." And the mountains of the south, the sweet voice of Durga calls, "Struck by the sounds before the sun, I knew the night had gone. The morning breeze like a bugle blew against the drum of dawn. Lay down your weary tune, lay down. Lay down the song you strum, and rest yourself 'neath the strength of strings no voice can hope to hum." The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born? The beast is limping through the bars of Beijing, Boracay and Bulawayo, looking for Bethlehem, pacing the bombed streets of Beirut, mingling in the malls of Bombay, crying, "Where is my Bethlehem?" The beast belches in Belclutha, Balfour, Bellblock and Blenheim. The ghost of gentle Themis calls, and the beast turns his head, falling to his knees. From the mountains, her sweet voice, I stood unwound beneath the skies, and clouds unbound by laws. The crying rain like a trumpet sang, and asked for no applause. Lay down your weary tune, lay down. Lay down the song you strum, and rest yourself 'neath the strength of strings no voice can hope to hum. Is nothing sacred anymore? They gunned down the truth on the streets of America and in a mosque in New Zealand. I saw it on Facebook.
Well, there you go, everyone. That was the Northland Artists Conversation 2023 end-of-year review. If this is your first time joining us, thank you so much for having stuck around all the way through the end of this podcast. Hopefully there are some guests that you've seen that you'll go back and you'll be like, man, I really want to check out that podcast. And it will encourage you to find everyone else, because as I said, it's a very, very small snapshot of the incredible guests that we have had. And it's been such an amazing year, 2023. We have had some highs, we've had some lows, unfortunately. But the one thing that we've always tried to do is be consistent with the work that we put out. And I think that's something that we're incredibly proud of. 2024 for us will be an even bigger year. As I said at the start, We've got a lot of things on the horizon. Tune in for next week's podcast because I'm going to drop something a little special about the last Thursday of April 2023 for something special that's coming up. We've worked ridiculously hard to get where we are. I remember when we first started. If we go right back to June of 2022, and we had the lovely and charming and beautiful Aki Fukuoka. That was our very first podcast, and we didn't know what we were doing. And we just made shit up as we went along, and it was great. And Aki was so cool, and we would love to have you back on, Aki. I remember looking at that and then handing producer Andrew the footage and saying, all right, off you go edit it. 10 hours later, we get a podcast out. Now, thanks to all the hard work of everyone behind the scenes in the team, we can now get a podcast edited down in about 2 hours. So, those are the huge wins that we've had, is being able to streamline our operation, make it more efficient and effective, but also make sure that we, are getting the guests in, and we're able to, maximize their time while they're here, and to make sure that everyone feels appreciated and listened to, and that we've actually taken time out of our day to acknowledge what they do, but also to celebrate what they do. And, we take photos of every guest that we've done, and, there's a lot of laughter. And it is really, really cool. I'm going to cut to my mic now. I can't speak highly enough of 2023. It's been a fantastic year. For those of you that have stuck with us the whole time, thank you so, so much. I'm throwing double thumbs up if you're listening to this. But if you're listening to this, thank you. If you are watching this, thank you. We really do appreciate you. So I'm going to give you guys all of the stats, all the info as to where you can find all of our details. So, for the visual, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all Northland Artists Conversation. For audio, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. That will be changing soon. Google Podcasts is being closed down, and it will be moving to YouTube. We will have more on that as we get more information as well. But where you can find it now on those 3 channels is Northland Artists Conversation. We would love to have guests on for 2024, so please feel free to reach out to us. Even if you're coming into Whangarei for a day, if we can work out a way to schedule a podcast around you, we will gladly try. So get in touch with us. Our email address is hello@northlandartistsconversation.co.nz. Last but not least, we have Patreon as well. We have had some of the most amazing supporters that have supported the work that we've done over the 18 months. And honestly, the funding that you guys have done has been amazing, and has been able to help us do some upgrades in the studio, which is always great. So I'm actually going to thank them right out of the gate. I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'm going to thank Jenny Purchase. Jenny came on to the podcast to talk about her new book that she was doing. Amazing lady. We've Maggie Coco. Now, Maggie is a musician, and she is super busy. This time of year, I think it's probably the busiest for her. She tours a lot. Amazing lady, super cool. We've had Michael Bota. Michael is a local author, wordsmith, and poet. He's dropped his second book of horror short stories called Blood Alcohol. Just do a Google search for it. You'll find it in a few different places. He's still really, really high on some of the Amazon genre lists as well. He's doing great. But I would like to send a very personal and very heartfelt thank you to Lauren Roach, who was the first ever Patreon supporter that we had, and she continues to be to this day. Lauren, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Honestly, we genuinely appreciate it. It has been such a wild ride for us, and 2024 is going to be amazing. So if you want to support us in the new year, 2024, there's a couple of ways you can do it. We've got this is the one way you can do it. We've got a couple of options for you. So we have a Patreon page. There's 2 ways you can find us. You can go to Google, type in Patreon, and then create an account. sign in, fill all those details out, search Northland Artists Conversation, and you can go from there. The second thing you can do is go into your search bar and go www.patreon.com/Northland Artists Conversation. You'll find us there. Pick a tier and go from there once you're signed up. We have 2 tiers. $5 a month is just a very, very, very small way of saying, hey, we believe in what you're doing. And we've called that a cup of coffee because it's about the cost of a cup of coffee nowadays. Although I think that might be a small latte. And then we've got Coffee Addict, which is $20 a month. And in the grand scheme of things, it's actually really not that much. But what you get is you get some exclusives that you don't get. You get the shout out like I just did. You get to find out who the guests are in advance. And if you have a question you'd like me to ask a guest, you just simply email through the Patreon page and I'll gladly ask that guest for you guys. Thank you again to everyone who has supported us. Hopefully our shout-outs have been good for you and we've been able to steer some people your way. A few extra eyes, it always helps. I'm going to go back to my wide. This was done with a lot of fun this year. When we did this last year, we'd been going for 6 months and it was still very much while we were trying to figure out what was going on. And, we came to the end of 2023 and it's like, yeah, we're in a great place now. We've all had a few personal highs and lows, but we've all come together and remained together for the love of the podcast and the artists that we talk with. And that is the big takeaway from this. Northland Artists Conversation was started with the whole emphasis of being able to celebrate the amazingly talented people we have here in Northland, the beautiful Northland. I won't say the winterless North anymore, but I will say the beautiful Northland. I moved here 8 years ago, originally from Gisborne, and this just Northland reminds me of a bigger Gisborne, and it honestly is so amazing. The beaches, the forests, the walks, the people, the art, and all of the wonderful things that you can see. So if you've been supporting us, thank you so much. If you're new to us, thanks for stopping by. On that high note, my name is Mark Kelly. On behalf of the whole team that looks after the Northland Artists Conversation, have a great New Year's. Celebrate with the ones you love. Never forget friends and family. My name is Mark Kelly, and we'll see you guys in 2024.